Soldier for 6 years plus. I left and then I joined the corporate world for 11 years. Technology, primarily in technology. So last 3 years for Silicon Valley, regional setting, 11 country, jet setting around every week. But at the height of my career, I thought deeply about the meaning of life. In 1997, when Silk Air crashed, I asked if I am sitting in that plane and it crashed, what will happen in my life? What will be the thing that I regret not doing? So at that time, it was very simple. I want to see the world before I die. So anyway, after a year, 4 months, I went backpacking. It was supposed to be 6 months. It turned out 4 years, 35 countries, 5 continents. That forever changed my life. I cannot go back and do the same thing again. I spent 8 months in South America, many months sitting in the Sahara Desert and many things. So I came back. I wanted to, at the time, Singapore released a Beyond 5C Remaking Singapore report. It's still on the internet, you can go and search for it. They want to make Singapore Beyond 5C, right? We all know about it. And then another recommendation came out. 2 recommendations stood out like an eyesore to me. First, they said, we want to teach Singaporeans how to take risks. I was like, how do you teach Singaporeans to take risks when the whole environment doesn't encourage risk taking? I'm a risk taker, Right. The second thing, we want to teach people how to be more creative. I said, how do you teach people to be creative when it's not conducive enough? So I'm with that thing, I decided to come back. Missing link is this is what I'm doing right now. What is that missing link? It's the culture. We talk about sustainability. Whenever we talk about sustainability, it's about what? It's about technology, all those policies and everything. But what is the culture that enables you to sustain? What is the greatest thing about human spirit that enable? And what is that? So when I look around in Singapore, the common denominator at the past, we have this thing such we call Kampung culture, right? Everybody once upon a time, whether you're Malay, Chinese, Indian, or live in a Kampung, we have such a thing called Kampung spirit. But I think we all know that we become very apathetic. We have no sense of ownership because our houses are no longer built. So I felt that there's a need to connect people back to the land. And that's how it all started. The GUS story started back in 2007, when in January and late December 2006, early January, Malaysia, southern Malaysia, was having unprecedented flood where 500,000 people were displaced. So I was called by my Malaysian friend to go down and help the flood relief mission in the indigenous village, Orang Asli, in Endang Rompin. Now I've been doing that in the first 5 years when I came back. So I organized 5 people, join in, not knowing how. In the end, I end up a lot of people come in and help, loan me a 4-wheel drive and many things. We went in, and within a few days, people asked me to go to Kota Tinggi. And the second round, I have 20 over people join me. And then the next day, I came back from Kota Tinggi. Another church called me and said, we need help in Pahang. So within 3 rounds, the Malaysian Datuk was asking me, what's the name of your organization? I said, there's no name. We just come to help. And they say that, insisted that I have a name. I said, then call me Ground Up Initiative. So that's the first thing. So when I came back from New Zealand and Mongolia and China, after 8.5 months, the team, the 50 over volunteers that joined me were still intact. They were wanting to do more things. So I knew at the time, this time right now, I want to do things a bit different. I said, maybe it's time that I want to organize a society, a group, and then I want to nurture leaders. The whole thing about what I'm doing right now is about nurturing leaders and building a community. So the first year we were in Lim Chu Kang. We started this program called Balik Kampung, which until today is still our flagship program. It's where people all come together and do a lot of things together. So when 2009, I was asked to come and take a look at the first 100 square meters of space. At the time, the Border Tree Park owner said, we need an education garden. I said, if you want me to come, I need my whole team to come. So we came here on the 24th of April 2009. And of course, the rest is history. And from 100 square meter, 7 months later, we expanded another 600 square meter. 5 months later, we expanded another 300 square meters. So in 18 months, we expanded 12 times to 1,200 square meters. Very, very important. It's not just a ground or a land anymore. It's a home. It's about the meaning of rootedness. When I was asked many times to leave this space, minister, perm sec, they say, how are you so stubborn? You're doing good things, Why do you insist on this piece of land? I say, sir, do you know what's the biggest problem in this country? And do you know what I'm trying to teach? You think it's about sustainability, environmentalism? I said, do you know I'm trying to teach the meaning of rootedness? How do you teach rootedness when I'm less than 5 years on this piece of land and you want me to uproot myself and go to another place? Every 5 years, we relocate people. You unblock a neighborhood. Don't you realize Singaporeans have no sense of identity and rootedness to this country? We want the best of everything, right? We want 2020 Swiss Standard World Cup. We want the woman to go out and work, have children at the same time, to do many things. Singapore is trying to have everything and eat it the way they want it. But I said, you cannot. Something have to go. I totally agree with, in the whole course of progress, we have to. But don't you think it's time that we now start to rethink why Singaporeans don't have that identity and rootedness? Our rootedness and identity is based on what? Marina Barrage, MBS, Orchard Road, Changi Airport. Yes, it makes me feel very proud. But what about understanding the meaning of the land, where people really come and do something about it on the land? They have a freedom, the freewheeling spirit to come and work together with fellow people that they never met before. And this is something that's missing. In the 60s and 70s, and up to probably early 80s, we have HDB flats still built by maybe your friend's father, somebody's uncle, Singaporeans, you know. Today, our flats are built by who? Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indian, China. Nobody cares about it anymore. I have a lot of top school students came here, put them on the ground to do for 2 hours. They come out, they say, oh my God, 2 hours, I only just told you that. Look at all the skyscraper in Singapore. And it's built by so many people. Am I taking things for granted? I think we are. So without the land, I don't think you will see all these people here. Many people, at first they came, they thought it's just a workout. I just want to farm. I just want to do certain things. But as they do more, and as I explain, when I have a chance to tell them, I say, what's the meaning of the land? Will you die for your land or not? Will Singaporeans die for the land? I think the society mindset. Now, I'm not a charity. And I don't want to be a charity because actually I've been involved in charity sector since I was like 17. And I'm now 52. Of course, people always say, well, why don't you become a charity? You know, you become a charity, it's so easy for us to give you money, right? Got tax rebate, man. So people always say, got tax rebate, I give you money, man. But isn't this the mindset of a lot of people these days? Of course, corporate also, they want to give money, they say, oh, no tax rebate. So they won't give a lot, they probably a few thousand, right? So when I'm just building very small, not building space, I'm fine, you know. And for years, we are never in the red, we still have surplus, you know. But now because we need to build infrastructures, and that's where $1 million came in. And that's where I have no choice but to. So first, I'm not a charity. Number two, I'm not corporate enough. I'm not commercial enough. They say if you're commercial enough, they come in and look at RI, they look, because everything I'm doing right now, everybody always tell me and say, do you know everything you turn, you can make so much money. It's always about make so much money, right? Then it's always at the expense of what? Expense of environment, at the expense of interpersonal relationship, at the expense of your own health, your own mind, right? So it's always that you're not commercial enough. Sometimes I'm wondering, is this going to start making sense or not? I'm still here today talking to you, and you know that the demolishing has started, and that one will start next week. This all needs money, right? So of course people will always say, I told you you need a lot of money to do this. But I always tell people, is it you need a lot of money to do this, or what do you need to get things done? And that goes back to the first two things, right? About risk-taking and creativity, right? So when I started in the first year, I went around talking about this whole idea of building. At first, I called it the Eco Village, and then, of course, subsequently, I called it Sustainable Living Center because later I called it Kampung. So, people challenged me. They said, Lai Hock, are you an architect? I said, no. Are you an engineer? I said, no. Do you have land? No. Are you a millionaire? No. And then they said, then what gives you the right that you say you want to do this in Singapore? I will look at them and say, I have imagination, I have guts. I think that's enough to start anything. I think constantly finding that balance and adaptation to the real world has always been there since day one for me. I call myself a pragmatic idealist. Now, I met many people who are very idealistic, you know. They always tell me a lot of things. Then, of course, then the other extreme is always too practical, right? So I'm a pragmatic idealist. So, of course, I always say pragmatic 60%, idealism 40%, because you need a little bit pragmatism to know how the real world works and how to know how to make things work also. What do you think how I get this space? You mean it's just through idealism? No, it doesn't work. What do you think from year one up to today, we have never been in the red? Is it idealism? No. So I always tell my volunteers, now you don't see this doesn't mean this is not at work, you know. Just that somebody is taking away the responsibility of taking care of this in the background, making things work. So I don't think at this moment I'm struggling with this. But my challenge is the team right now who are a lot of them who really now working with me. A lot of them are still very passionate, very young. They have never tasted the baptism of the real world, I call it. Now think about it, 6 years as a soldier, 11 years corporate work, cutting deals, jet setting around the world, backpacking for 4 years, helping many charity sectors. Maybe I just have that right ingredient or mix to understand and then knowing when to balance. So I always tell people, while everything is a skill, but when it can come to the finesse, it's the art, you see. Knowing when this is a judgment call I cannot teach you. You can only follow and be an apprentice. And that's why here we emphasize so much apprenticeship. So I explain to people, but I said the fundamental, I will not screw anybody up. I will not hurt anybody at the expense because it benefit me. If it's benefit the organization, then I will put in some things to say, how do you turn around and let the other side say, I will want to come? Now this is art, you know. Yeah. So it will take the younger people who have never gone through hardship in their life many more years to finally get it. And this is what I'm doing right now. I want to, and you know why? I'm easy about it. As a backpacker, I backpack around the world. I always see a lot of monuments. So, or you go to Barcelona, that Antonio Gaudi, Sagrada de Familia, still building, right? You go to Petra, they take hundreds and hundreds of years to build. You know what's the first thing on my mind when I stood before all this monument? I was like, wow, 300 years to build. The craftsmen, the workers who build it will never see it complete in their lifetime. And how old do people live last time? 50 years, average. Not like nowadays, every 2 years one building, right? So I say, you know what? I'm like the craftsman in the process. I will never see the finished product of what GUI will become. And you know what? I'm easy about it. I'm in no hurry to see that this will finally be completed. Like what I shared with you earlier. Palo Alto, Silicon Valley took decades before it became everywhere. And today, a lot of people trying to say, hey, look at, they're so successful. Look at this, they're so successful. I always say, but do you see the struggle or not? So be patient. I think patience is what I'm also trying to let people, because of impatience, and that's why the whole world human, the corporate greed, the politician, they are all hurting so many things right now, right? So I'm just easy about it. So it's very hard for me to share with you in a short your video to all this essence, because GUI is much more than that. I always say people in Singapore look at the land as an economic dimension only. Economic only. But I always say I want to tell Singaporeans, a land has social dimension, education dimension, community dimension, and the most important thing, spiritual dimension, which we have lost forever. And my aim is to engage policymakers also. If I don't engage a policymaker, then they will continue to look at the land differently. So, but now I'm engaging government, politicians. They will have no choice but to say, what is GUI trying to do right now? Now, of course, I come to realize I have this gift, and I'm going to put my gift to good use. So I always tell everybody come to me, you have a gift, what is that gift? So when you have the gift, it's either you honor your gift and put it into good use. Not everybody can be like me, and you have to accept that. But since I have it, then I rally people to come and engage people differently. Ask them to take a look at this. Maybe 5 years later, this will be gone. Maybe it will be gone. But at least we impacted thousands of people who will relook, and some of them are going to be policymakers, CEOs. And hopefully when they grow up one day, they relook at the policy that they are now designing, but because there's a seed sown in them, and they say, yes, let's look at things a bit differently. And then we talk about sustainability in a different manner then.